Welcome, Sens Talk.
Russell winds in, feeds it back across the strike, and scores! Brady Tkachuk makes it 2-0. Paul Giroux, hit alone, scores!
Tim Stutzel across, Tkachuk score! The captain, Brady Tkachuk, buries it with 1:18 to go.
See you later. Go, Sens, go. Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host. Tonight, Ottawa took on the Boston Bruins as Ottawa looks to continue their fantastic play as of late, while Boston looks to win back-to-back games. Now, going into tonight's game, there's only a minor tweak to the lineup as Mark Kaslick returns to the lineup in for Zach McEwen. Now, for the Boston Bruins, Jeremy Swayman would start for them, and for the Ottawa Senators, it would be Joonas Korpisalo. So let's go to the first period of play, and Ottawa is utterly dominating the Bruins. They're out shooting them crazy. In fact, they held the Boston Bruins to only one shot for nearly the entire first period of play. The Bruins went over 16 minutes without getting a shot after, getting a shot in the first few minutes of the first period. And then, of course, guess what? You know how that always goes. The Bruins would score 3 seconds into their power play, their first of the night, to make it 1-0 Boston. David Pastrnak from near the blue line lets one rip. Kelly out front of Korpisalo screens him as this one beats Korpisalo high glove side as the Bruins go into the first intermission up by a goal. Not fair for Ottawa, but this is hockey. It's not always fair. And look, Ottawa definitely played the better game in that first period of play. But look, they had 2 power plays in that first period of play, and they registered 0, nada, no shots. Unbelievable. Now, the power play did look a little better in the latter half of the game, but that doesn't excuse the terrible power plays of late in their last 4 games. They're 0 for 14. No excuse for that. I don't care how they did in the latter half of the game, which looked definitely better. The point, very simply, is the power play has to be better. Look at your screen right now. Second worst in the National Hockey League in terms of power play success rates since the beginning of the new year. Has to be better than that. Has to be better. We go to the second period of play, and Boston continues to take advantage on a couple of mistakes by Ottawa. This is a defensive breakdown. Chabot and Chychrun get crossed up with one another. Chabot screens Korpisalo, and Trent Frederic beats Korpisalo high blocker side. They give the Bruins a 2-goal lead. It's 2-0 for the Boston Bruins. Another one beats Korpisalo up high. And look, you should make the case that Korpisalo should make these saves on these goals. That first one, Kelly did have a screen out front, but there was a lot of space between that shot and that goal. But it is also David Pastrnak shooting that puck. So the case can go either way for that one. And then, of course, for this Trent Frederic one early on in the second period of play, Chabot had the screen there. But again, for a tall goalie, you can make the case that it's another goal that beats him up high. Why is he going down so early? But once again, the screen certainly doesn't help, especially when you're trying to track the shot on transition in a quick moment like that, particularly on that second goal, right? So definitely a goal that, you might want to save there, but also understandable it goes in. But Ottawa continues to press. They continue to really work hard there in the second period of play, and they finally get rewarded after missing a couple opportunities. They just couldn't get anything going. Jeremy Swayman was playing very, very well with just under 30 seconds left in the second period of play. Ottawa gets some life. It's Hudson Bacho. Thomas Chabot puts one home to give Ottawa a 1-goal deficit. Tim Stützle and Drake Batherson assist on this power play goal as Ottawa cuts the lead to 1. Going into the second intermission, as Tim Stützle now has 10 points in his last 6 games. He's looked very good in the last little bit, as Ottawa overall has looked good. We'll talk about that in the post-game thoughts. But a huge goal here for Ottawa. Huge. I cannot say that enough. Huge goal for Ottawa in the last 30 seconds. In a game where, look, in the 40 minutes leading up to this final 20 minutes of play in the third period, Ottawa's been, without a doubt, the better team. The Boston Bruins, of course, just capitalized on the power play opportunity in the first period. And then in the second period, of course, with Trent Frederic, transition goal, bad defensive breakdown. They took advantage of their couple of chances. But Ottawa was easily the better team throughout the first 40 minutes, getting a lot of good chances, good looks. But they just couldn't capitalize. And The special teams obviously has let them down this game, as usual, again. But we go to the third period of play, and after that big power play goal, the power play is certainly feeling it. As we go into the third period, Ottawa is certainly getting some looks. They're getting some chances. They're putting some good looks on Jeremy Swayman, who's making some big stops, but nothing too crazy, I'll be honest. You have to give credit to the Boston Bruins. While Ottawa certainly had a good amount of shots in tonight's game, and you got to give credit to Jeremy Swayman, no doubt, for his performance tonight. The Bruins did a very good job at forcing Ottawa to the outside and not really getting a lot of good looks near the front of the net, other than, of course, on the power play, where Ottawa, of course, on that first goal from Chabot, had a lot of good looks up front. And I say that because, look, the Bruins are 21-1-5 when leading after 40 minutes of play. They don't lose often. Especially in regulation, 21-1-5. So there's a reason why I'm mentioning how good they are defensively, because even in a bad game on a back-to-back situation, but that's not an excuse. They're still not playing their best game. Even when they're not at their best, they're doing a very good job defensively to not exactly allow high-danger opportunities 24/7 in Swayman. So they did a very good job there, particularly in front of the net. But of course, like I just mentioned, not on the power play. They gave a lot of good looks out front on the power play. And Shane Pinto got a couple good looks on the power play as well tonight. A couple of good one-timer opportunities, nice passes from behind the net from El Capitano, Brady Tkachuk. And then with just about 6 minutes left in the third period of play, Josh Norris looks to tie it with a net front goal right out front, jamming it home. But the refs rule it was a hand pass from Matthew Joseph. This goal could have went either way. I understand the call. I've seen some Sens fans argue it, saying that it shouldn't have been called off, should be a good goal. He didn't, direct the puck. He didn't close his hand on the puck. I do agree that he didn't close his hand on the puck. He didn't look to, on purpose, direct that puck to Josh Norris, but it did look like he got a piece of it, and those kind of calls can go either way. So I'm not going to lose sleep over that one. It is unfortunate, though, as Josh Norris gets a goal wiped off from a good effort from him and Matthew Joseph. But luckily, a few minutes later, Ottawa is back on the power play, and it doesn't matter. Josh Norris gets a nice assist here as Vladimir Tarasenko lets one rip, popping bottles. We are tied 2-2. Vladimir Tarasenko with a beautiful goal that tied up at 2 apiece. Norris with an assist. Thomas Chabot with the secondary as Ottawa, with just under 5 minutes left, ties things up at 2 apiece. A well-earned tie here for Ottawa, where, look, they've, like I've mentioned many times, have been easily the better team throughout this game. They deserve at least a point, and they're going to get one, as this one forces it to overtime, as Ottawa has now gone 5 straight games with a point. We'll take it, but we want the 2 points. So we go to overtime, and, look, Jonas Korpisalo, I gave him a little bit of criticism there on the first 2 goals in that overtime period. Made some 10 bell stops, kept Ottawa in it, gave them a chance, really made some athletic stops. And then look, as usual, just like earlier in the game, Ottawa with one chance going one way. Brady Tkachuk fans on the shot. The Bruins come back the other way. Brad Marchand on a 2-on-1 lets one rip glove side as the Boston Bruins will escape with the 2 points as they win this one 3-2 in overtime. Marchand from Coyle is the final stat line as the Bruins will take down Ottawa to win their 30th of the year as Ottawa drops to 18-24-2 on the year. Look, not the one to look at silver linings, especially in a season where Ottawa is double digits out of a playoff spot. But what I will say is, look, they've got an 8 out of 10 points in their last 5 games against, 3 of those games were against teams that are in playoff spots right now. Really tough teams. So the team is playing better. They should have won today, no doubt about it. Some missed opportunities. But they are playing better as of late, no doubt about it. And they are certainly buying into Jacques Martin's, style of play and his coaching system. So it is encouraging to see another solid defensive effort here for Ottawa, where they only allowed 23 shots. Another good effort defensively for the Senators. But once again, obviously those 2 power play goals to tie things up made it good. But, if you really look at it, Ottawa, if they scored, or at least got more opportunities to score, they didn't even get a shot in that first period on those 2 power plays. You can make the argument that this would be an entirely different game, and Ottawa wouldn't have had to make a comeback attempt regardless. So, on top of that, the penalty kill, 1 penalty kill they had to kill off. They didn't kill it. They only had 3 seconds actually on the ice. Pasternak, of course, with that nasty shot. So the penalty kills tonight, as usual, let us down, as they have been throughout this year, which is really shocking. You would have thought the Ottawa Senators would have had a strong special teams, considering they've had a strong special teams over the last couple of years. It's really been their only saving grace, particularly last year when they lacked 5-on-5 goals. So it is a little discouraging, to be honest with you. And it's certainly why Boston had an opportunity to win this game. But going back to Ottawa's solid defense overall, I mean, if you look at the stats here, Ottawa had 11 takeaways. They had 12 block shots. Pretty solid overall there. And they also won the faceoff battle. It was pretty close. It was 28-27. But against a team like Boston with some pretty good center depth, it's good to see Ottawa, play a fairly even game in that regard with them. Let's take a look at some individual stats. Continue on with the post-game thoughts here. Joonas Korpisalo, obviously not his best performance, but he can't really fault him either for the loss, I would say. It's kind of a iffy kind of game where he can make the argument, like I've already mentioned, those 2 goals in regulation. He probably should have stopped even that overtime goal, but he also made some big stops, particularly there in the overtime period. 870 save percentage on 23 shots, 20 saves, 3 goals allowed. Not his best effort, not his worst effort. Kind of just an iffy kind of game there for, Joonas Korpisalo, who's looked really good as of late. So I'm not going to label this as a Joonas Korpisalo loss. I think the special teams really let us down tonight. Tom Chabot, by the way, 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist, 7 shots on goal, 1 hit, 1 block in just over 24 minutes of ice time. I thought he looked good, really, really energized and engaged throughout the night. And it's great to see him score on that power play. It's also great to see guys like Shane Pinto getting 4 shots on goal tonight. Claude Giroux getting 4 shots on goal. Jacob Chychrun getting 4 shots on goal. He also had 3 hits and a block in just over 23 minutes. So a lot of guys had pretty decent nights tonight overall. I'm just taking a look at Mark Kastelik here. Just over 6 minutes of ice time. Not really much going on in his game. He had 3 hits. Did have a fight, I guess you can call it, early on in the game. But, I would have expected a little bit more from Mark Kastelik. He's battling with Rourke Chartier, no doubt, and Zach McEwen's looked good as of late as well. So he's battling for a roster spot right now and not being the 13th forward. Good opportunity there for him tonight. I thought early on he looked good physically, but kind of faded out as things went on. That's basically about it. Look, Ottawa, it was a good game overall. They played a solid game. They put on a good amount of shots, 37 shots. They certainly deserved the win, but you can't say you deserve the win ultimately if you don't put the puck in the back of the net more than your opponent, and we didn't. So, another tough loss, but once again, 5 straight games with at least a point, 8 points out of a possible last 10 in our last 5 games, 3 of which were playoff teams. So things are definitely trending up for the Ottawa Senators. It's just unfortunate. It's another loss in a season where if they have any hope of somehow making some sort of comeback to get into the playoff bubble conversation, you got to win games like this. Ones especially, you probably deserve the win. Now, besides that, thank you all for watching. The next Senator game is on Saturday against the New York Rangers. Should be a fun one. So I'll see you all then. Go Sens, go.